After 2 years, 8 months, 1,001 total days later, the lineal heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou makes his return to MMA. He makes his PFL debut. It's taking place on Saturday at PFL Battle of the Giants in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And he's taking on a massive challenger in Hanan Fiera, the 2023 PFL champion is a really dominant striker. He has 4 straight knockouts. As we know, Ngannou is on a 6 fight win streak in his own right. 5 knockouts for Ngannou, 4 for Fiera. This should be an incredible main event. The co-main event, it's arguably the best women's fighter of all time, Chris Cyborg, the Bellator champion, taking on the PFL champion, Larissa Pacheco, in a 145 women's featherweight super fights championship bout, 5 rounder. That one should be incredible as well. Johnny Eblen, the Bellator middleweight champion, is defending his title once again against Fabian Edwards. He beat him last year. Fabian's coming off of a win against Aaron Jeffrey. He's going to try to settle the score. AJ McKee versus Paul Hughes opens the card. That one should be fantastic. AJ McKee's coming off of an impressive first round submission back in February in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia against Clay Collard. Paul Hughes made his PFL debut just a couple months ago in June, had an early finish in that one. Paul Hughes 12-1, one of Ireland's best prospects ever. Is the best prospect probably since Ian Gary a couple years ago, and years before that, Conor McGregor. He is a special talent, not only in Ireland, but in Europe as a whole. AJ McKee is just an incredible all around fighter. As we know, former Bellator featherweight champion, moves up to 55 a couple fights ago, and he looks like he hasn't missed a beat. Still is 29 years old. Paul Hughes is 27 years old. So, two guys that are still in their prime and two of the best 155 pounders in the world. This is really, really impressive fight. This one should be great. The winner of this, they've both been calling out Usman Nurmagomedov throughout the week, and it seems like the winner of this could face him. And the odds have this fight really close on DraftKings Sportsbook. I see it as AJ McKee's the favorite at minus 198, plus 164 to Paul Hughes. I think AJ McKee should be a bigger favorite in this fight, actually. He has the championship experience. Paul Hughes is the newcomer. He is an incredible prospect, and both guys have one loss, so somebody's gonna suffer that second loss. But I'm gonna go with AJ McKee. Like I said, I think he has that championship experience. He's been there, done that, and I think he's just gonna overwhelm Paul Hughes. I think this step up in competition for Paul Hughes is too great at this point. I think it's a little too soon. I would have liked to see Paul Hughes get a couple more fights under him before he has this massive matchup against the McKee. But yeah, I think this could be fight of the night actually to open up the card. This one's excellent. And then we move on to the title fights. It's Johnny Eblen, Fabian Edwards. This one is excellent. The first fight was a pretty decent fight. I didn't think, and it doesn't seem like Eblen thought that Edwards should have got an immediate rematch, but the Assassin's right back at it. He's plus 360, a heavy underdog. Eblen's almost a minus 500 even in this fight, and he's 15-0. We know he's coming off of a split decision win over Impa Kasanganay at the last PFL major event in February in Riyadh. So hasn't fought in a little while. Fabian's coming off of that win over Jeffrey. I think Eblen, this is his time. I truly believe, not just in PFL, I think Johnny Eblen's one of the best 185 pounders in the world. I think he's that good. I think he can go toe to toe with guys in the UFC, guys like Sean Strickland, Dracus Duplessis, Izzy. I think he's that talented, and I really think that he's going to just continue to prove that. And he's already beat Fabian. I think he's going to beat him again. I want to see Eblen after this fight take a step up and fight another great fighter at middleweight. Who is that? I don't know right now, but we'll find out soon. But getting into the two title fights, they're both for the PFL Super Fights Championships. We start off with the featherweight women's championship. It's Chris Cyborg, it's Larissa Pacheco, two just unbelievable fighters, two unbelievable strikers, two great champions. Chris Cyborg has only lost one time in the last 8 years. She's she is just unbelievable. She's coming off a win over Kat Zingano. Pacheco hasn't fought in almost a year. Same with Chris Cyborg. Both of these fighters have been waiting for this fight. Everything's built up for this fight, and this should be an incredible championship fight. Cyborg is 9 years older than Pacheco. I think that could be a big factor, but until Cyborg shows us that she's taken a step back and that she's falling off from where she used to be, I just think that she's going to be too much for Pacheco. I think she's going to overwhelm her. I think she's just such a veteran. She has so much big fight experience in the UFC, in Bellator, now in PFL even. She's done it all. She's seen it all. And I can't believe that she is the plus 120 underdogs. I'm seeing it now. Pacheco's minus 142. I'm going to pick Chris Cyborg here for the upset. I don't consider this an upset because Cyborg, like I said, is the veteran. She is the fighter that has been on the big stage more often. Pacheco is still young, up and coming. She does have the huge win over Kayla Harrison a year ago, but I think Cyborg adds another great name to her great career, fantastic career that she has had. But let's get into the main event. This fight is such an incredible fight. It's Francis Ngannou, it's Renan Fierro, and Francis Ngannou is the minus 245 favorite, plus 200 for Fierro in this fight. And the Predator, Francis, like I said, is making his return after having two boxing fights last October. He returned from major knee injury to face Tyson Fury. He didn't just fight Tyson Fury. I think he beat Tyson Fury in that fight, knocked him down. As we know, he lost the decision. But back in March, he brutally got knocked out in the first few rounds against Anthony Joshua. And he's returning after his first major knockout in combat sports, period. Never was knocked out brutally like that before. And I think some people are forgetting what Francis Ngannou accomplished in the UFC before going the boxing route, his side quest, if you may. He won 6 straight fights in the UFC, beat multiple UFC champions, knocked out Stipe, beat Cyril Gane, he beat JDS, among many others. This guy was a certified killer in the UFC. When he's wearing those MMA gloves, he's untouchable. He's the hardest hitter that we've ever seen. But he's stepping up to a guy that is actually bigger, believe it or not. Fierro has a 4-inch height advantage, has a 2-inch reach advantage over Ngannou. But I just Fierro is a weird case because, yes, he beat and he not brutally knocked out Ryan Bader in the first round back in February. But before that, beat Maurice Green, Dennis Goldskov. He hasn't beat the type of talent that Ngannou has beat or even faced. So I think this is a huge step up in competition against Fierro. He fought Ryan Bader. He dominated Bader. Bader was a smaller guy. Ngannou is a massive. Fierro is still weighed in a couple pounds heavier than Ngannou, 5 pounds at that at the weigh-ins. But I think Francis Ngannou in this fight, I don't think he's just going to win. I think he's going to remind the entire world that he is the lineal heavyweight champion in MMA. He is the best heavyweight in the sport. I got him by knockout, minus 185. That is a great bet. When you look at the money line, it's minus 245. Ngannou's in there to kill. He's a hunter. He's doing this with a heavy heart for his late son who passed away a couple months. He's bounced back many times, and I have no doubt in my mind that Francis Ngannou can bounce back after being knocked out a couple months ago by Anthony Joshua. But overall, this card should deliver. PFL's best card without a doubt. PFL Battle of the Giants on Saturday. Be sure to check it out, and thanks for tuning in.